have you done anything at college that your dad doesn't know about?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I want to go down this road.
Oh.
I don't think I want to go down this road.
I was going to tell you one, but,
All right,
okay.
no, you know what? Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, this is going to suck.
Do you want one?
God, this is going to suck.
Okay.
Is Steve a shitty dad? We'll find out this week on Inappropriate with Jim and Steve. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Inappropriate with Jim and Steve. I'm Jim. I'm Steve. I messed it up.
Jesus Christ. I don't know. We should even do that over.
Hold on. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another... Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Inappropriate with Jim and Steve. I'm Steve.
I'm Jim.
And we have a special guest today. It is my daughter, Caitlin.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi, Caitlin.
Hello.
The second female we've had on this podcast, and the youngest person by a large margin.
I'm breaking glass ceilings.
Yeah.
Revolutionary.
Yeah, that's what it is. So, just to start off this episode, we want to get the monkey off our back. I guess that's the saying. Or get the elephant.
Just get the monkey off.
Get the monkey off. We want to address the fact that we used to be called the Jim, Joe, Steve Show, but we are currently operating as a duo, the Jim and Steve Show. So we didn't think that was that good, so we decided to call it Inappropriate. Joe, he's got a lot of stuff going on.
He just started a new company.
He started a new
brand
company.
new.
Yep.
He is putting in double time
Yep.
with his company, and we wish him the best of luck getting that damn thing off the ground and rolling.
Yep, because we want him back on the show, but we don't know when that's going to happen.
From time to time, Joe will be on the show as often as he can. But we just felt weird calling it Jim, Joe, Steve show when Joe would knowingly be here sporadically.
Yeah, and I was tired of constantly seeing emails and text messages. Why isn't Joe on the show? What's going on with Joe? We decided that it would be easier for us to address the fact that he's not going to be on for a little bit.
So before we get into anything else, I still have the 4 possible names that we came up with before we settled on Inappropriate. Which one is great and which one suck? But our
Kate,
first
you
one...
can put your
All
2
right.
cents in.
All right, yeah. So, Fun Time Fellas.
No.
Yeah, I think
That sounds like odd. Like it sounds like people I would avoid in like a playground.
Okay.
Kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just go pervert.
Pervert,
style,
yeah.
right?
Oh, that's true. Fun Time. Okay. So, good thing. Wait, we should have ran this list by you. I heard it on Jim and Steve.
Not awful.
Okay.
Like I think you could make it work.
Okay.
But that doesn't
But-
evoke any feelings or
No.
doesn't make you want to listen.
Not really.
Okay.
But good little word of mouth thing.
Okay.
Third one was the Tree Fort.
Why?
You don't know about tree forts, do you?
I mean, I know what a tree house is.
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing. The tree house, the tree fort.
Oh, okay.
Even guys in their 40s always reminisce back to being a kid and hanging out in the tree house.
Mm-hmm. Like the tree house you had.
Yeah.
You really think about that?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we were gonna call it the tree fort.
Why not tree house?
It could have. Well, we could have gone either way with that.
I feel
Yeah.
like that would confuse people. I don't know what a tree fort is. I know what a tree house
Okay,
is.
so
right.
it could have been a tree house, although we just didn't. That didn't feel like it would say anything about the podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it just sounds
It's
like
just maybe a cool name that we thought of, but nobody would look at it and go, "What is that about?"
yeah.
So then the fourth one was Inappropriate with Jim and Steve.
I think that one's the best.
Good, because that's
Yeah.
the one we
Yeah.
picked.
Yeah. Totally not saying
All
that.
the artwork has already been
because-
done. We've
Yeah.
been using that for about 4 episodes now.
Do you guys get new caricatures?
We like our same characters, and because it's the same style show and the same audience, we didn't want to change the artwork completely. So we use the same characters and the same font, and we just rolled with that.
That's what we're rolling with right now. We decided to have Caitlin on because
Steve is a glutton for punishment.
yeah. What we're gonna do? We had a previous episode called "Is Steve a Piece of Shit?" so now we're gonna decide if I'm a piece of shit father.
I love to hold a grudge. So I have a list of grudges I've held against my father. Or like little things I just think about sometimes
that have
annoy me.
altered your life in a negative way.
Like when I'm sitting in therapy and they're like, oh, what's going on with your father? Then I can be like, oh, okay, well.
And she has an actual list. I can't wait for this, to be quite honest.
Today, when we were talking about it, I was like, oh, we can have Caitlin on. And part of me was very hesitant about it because I was like, this can only end badly for me. So,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And this is a can of worms that once you let out, you can't just stuff it back in and be like, it was just for the podcast, Dad. You know?
Yeah. Like,
I
mean, our relationship as father-daughter is about to be totally destroyed.
It's balancing on a branch right now.
Yeah.
Thin ice.
All right, thin ice. No, I feel like you obviously know about all of these situations.
Do you pay rent here?
I do not.
You might after this podcast.
Yeah. I'll just go live with Mom.
Yeah. So what we'll do is you give your story or whatever the scenario is about why your grief's with me, and then Jim will decide whether
you can defend yourself.
Yeah, I'll defend myself.
And plead your case as to maybe where you were coming from or why that happened.
Yes, and Jim as a father will then decide whether or not I am being irresponsible.
Shitty dad.
Yeah. There's a little bit of bias in the father.
Yeah.
aspect.
You came on my podcast with my friend.
True.
So you're hopefully.
You did ask me to come on, so.
But
Sure.
I have a daughter. So I think of it as, would I, as much as I love my daughter, would I do that to my daughter? So I could be on your side, or if I think maybe
Hopefully
Steve's in
on
the
my
right
side.
I could,
Right.
I'm Judge Judy. I'm impartial.
All right.
All right. Take it back to Ocean City one year. You and I are out in the water. Lovely little family vacation. A wave comes. Now, I'm like 10, 11 at this point, and there's a wave coming. He very, very much shouts, jump. So I go to jump, and then you ducked. And then I jumped. I got nailed by this wave. I was under the water, about to drown. Near-death experience. I get out of the water, and the first thing I hear is not, are you okay? Is everything fine? I just hear, I told you to duck.
Did he say duck or did he say jump?
He said
How
jump.
sure are you that
I'm
I said duck?
near positive that you said jump.
You said you're near positive that you're incorrect. Because I definitely
You
said
jump. Well, here's what I'm thinking in your brain. You said jump, then you realize we're supposed to duck. But you're like, I need to save myself real quick.
Say this was when you were 10 or 11.
Right, like I was fairly young.
For the listeners, how old are you now?
I am 19.
Okay, so this has hung with you for about 8-9 years.
Yeah.
she constantly brings this shit up. Like I've heard this. I've heard this story.
Oh, yes. But then also, it's not even the resentment of like, oh, you said to jump, not duck. When I emerge from the waves, near coughing, trying to catch air, the first thing I hear is, I told you to duck.
Well, it's because I want to be right.
Right.
So no matter what,
we can unpack that later, but
I'm sure we will.
I know.
Two things. From a father standpoint, I feel like at that, you were probably within safe parameters, whether you got pummeled by the wave or not. He could have saved you. But also, fathers tend to want to teach their kids, don't worry about what everyone else says. When you have danger coming in the face, like, you need to be able to react as quick as possible and think on your feet, regardless of what your friends are saying.
well, I'm also a child. So obviously my father tells me to do something, I'm going to do it as a well-behaved young child.
It's hard for me to side on this one, but because this is we have to decide whether Steve is a piece of shit father or not. This one, I'm gonna side with Steve, only because you were always safe, regardless of, it's almost like riding a bike. If he says slow down and you're supposed to speed up, and then you fall. All right, one for Steve.
One
is
for
not
me.
A shitty
One
father.
for me. Yes! I am so far the greatest father that's ever existed.
Totally. I'm forgetting. Did Steph tell the Arrow story when she was on?
I don't recall. Oh no, she did. That was a big Steve is a piece of shit.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So default.
What are you chalking that up for a win for you?
Right. Yeah. No. Because I was, when I was thinking of like moments of you that stand out in my head.
For the listeners that did not listen to that episode,
Oh yeah.
we were at Ocean City, Maryland. There's a place called Frontier Town. And one of the shows in Frontier Town is a
Well, it's a country. It's like a Western style themed. It has like a water slide, water park. You can go camping there, and then they have shows.
Yes,
but it's all like old timey cowboy style.
Yes,
motif.
I don't want to say Indian. Is Indian wrong to say?
Native American.
Native American. So there was a Native American
We're all
show.
inclusive here.
There's a Native American show where a guy.
Wait a minute. You can't call that an Indian show? Like Indian is not correct anymore?
Well, because like Indian is like India. Because the reason we call them Indians is because what white people did was because they came here thinking this was India. So they called them just Indians because they were like, oh, we're in India. And then discovered they weren't.
But do Native Americans, do they use the term Indian?
I think they mostly use either Native American or they're like tribal names. Maybe.
Like
I'm not.
Cherokee?
Yeah, I'm not going to be a spokesperson for the Native American community.
If we have any Native Americans listeners, we would love for you to chime in and let us know whether Indians are out,
Yes,
and Native American is in, or it doesn't matter. Like I want.
Do you
them
love
to tell
being
me.
called Redskin, or are you glad they're the Commanders now?
Okay, so moving on. You had you were at the Native American.
We're at the Native American show at Frontier Town, and the guy fakes like he shoots an arrow up in the air, and me, not knowing what's going on, yells, "We got to get out of here!" to Caitlin and my wife Stephanie
Before the arrow comes crashing down, taking somebody out.
So I take off running, and
Bolts.
I turn around, and Steph actually covers Caitlin.
Like you guys
with her
weren't
body.
even dating for like that long at that point. I think it was like maybe like 2 year, 1 year maybe.
Maybe.
And then she's the one like I have to protect the child. Meanwhile, the person who've known me my entire life is bolting, running.
I said, "Let's get out of here," and you guys did not follow me.
Well,
you should
also-
listen to what I say.
We
and
also
I ran.
did understand that it was fake.
That's why Steph covered you, because she
Right.
thought it was fake. She
Maybe.
thought it was real too. Yes. So they shot the arrow up in the air. I ran away. And
Much like he did it with his Nimpo.
yes, much like Nimbo. And I turn around, and I'm the only one that ran away. So I had to turn around and do the walk of shame back to my family, who now thinks I'm the biggest loser in the entire world.
Now, did you play it off as it was like you knew all along it was this joke, or did you just give in and be like, all right?
I gave in because you can't. There was no coming back from that.
It was too real.
Yeah, it was too real. I legit thought he shot that arrow up in the air and he didn't know where it was.
People should go back and listen to that episode. And I know it was called Is Steve a Piece of Shit? And it was episode 33. That whole episode is great. So after this one, plug that in.
Yes, it is. That's the one with Steph, right?
Yep.
That's the one with my wife, and it makes me look awesome. So. All right, Kate. What do you got? What do you got next? Get in deep, Kate. Like
Dig in.
Like something that you've always wanted to say to me.
Let me go to my therapy notes real quick. Hold on. I feel like sometimes you have no emotions. If you want to get into that.
Oh, here we go.
Well,
Like
you wanted a deep cut.
yeah,
Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go.
This is a deep cut.
No emotions.
What do you mean, no emotions?
I don't know. You like.
This is a comedy podcast too.
I know. That's the, I'm trying to make it funny and not like depressing.
No. Go ahead.
I mean, we can laugh at depressing
Yeah.
Us trying to talk about deep emotional things is weird.
because you didn't read you enough books when you were a child.
Yeah. No. Exactly.
I read you a book every night. Every night I read you a book.
You did read me a book. No, I just feel like. I'm like I don't want to get weird because it's weird.
No, go ahead.
Um.
If you don't want to talk about it, we can edit it out. So.
Yeah.
I think this speaks volumes just in itself.
I know. Me having to be like somewhat confrontational. You're not confrontational at all.
No, I'm not
Yeah.
confrontational at all.
At all. It's really.
But how does that affect you?
I feel like we just never have serious conversations about things. But like I feel like this is a weirdly like serious thing to talk about on like a podcast. So I was just doing small judges. I didn't know you wanted to get into the in depth of if I think you're a bad father.
Well, okay. Well, this is where I chime in.
This is like
So
I think it would be funny.
if we're trying to figure out if Steve was a bad father, so I feel like there are some things that you want to talk about. So that kind of leads me to believe that maybe Steve could have been a better father.
Could I have been a better father?
I mean, yeah, I don't think I think every parent could be a better parent.
That is true.
Of course.
That is true.
I do that to myself all the time. I think like why did I handle that way? I could have done it better.
Remember that one time you made me sit and eat carrots because they were like a weird texture and I didn't like them, and you made me sit at the kitchen table for like 2 hours until my bedtime because I wouldn't eat the carrots.
Yes.
That's ingrained.
Allow me to explain myself with that. So I remember you were maybe 9, 10.
A little younger than that, I think.
Caitlin would not eat her vegetables. And you had like at just one point you just had to draw a line in the sand.
I ate my vegetables sometimes. I would eat certain ones, but the ones you bought were like those weird
The crinkle
crunchy.
cuts. They were crinkle cuts.
And I just didn't like the texture.
And I was trying to prove a point that they're the same carrots. And I did make her sit there and try to, I wouldn't let her up until she ate them.
For 2 hours when I was like 7, just because I didn't like a texture of a food. Like it wasn't like I would never eat carrots. I would eat them, but then you bought this one specific kind that I was like, oh, I don't really like this.
So maybe I was a little overzealous with the carrot conversation. So all right, I will give you. I'll be the deciding factor on this one.
Ooh.
That I probably was a shitty dad there.
I agree that you were the shitty father because that actually happened to me. My parents, there was one food I hated growing up was all gratin potatoes.
That's valid.
I hated them, and people have said,
silly.
"Oh, they're so good, but the ones my parents
box?
made was in a box. I could smell it as soon as they started cooking. I would gag, and then that was one of the only foods that I wouldn't eat. And
Do you eat them now?
Never. I can't even
Really?
stand the smell of them.
It's a weird texture. Like they will go weird. I'm not a fan either.
Yeah, and they put it on my plate, and I didn't eat them, and I had to sit there until bedtime. I sat there at the table until it was time to
Hold a
bed,
grudge.
and then I went to the kitchen, put my plate in the sink, and went to bed. And then the second time, I actually forced myself to eat them, and then puked everywhere. And then at that point,
That's what I should have done. I should have to throw up everywhere.
that was the only thing that got me off the hook in the future.
Did you make yourself throw up?
I didn't have to make I knew if I ate them, I would throw up just because of the smell. So I finally ate them and then puked everywhere, and then I didn't have to eat them anymore. So maybe you should have ate a damn carrot and then puked
and then
everywhere.
throw up
Yeah.
everywhere.
Now, can you eat a crinkle carrot now?
I don't think I I have. Because, like, I don't think most people get... I think maybe I probably have, just in a bunch of stuff, but it was just a bowl of, like, super hard crinkle cut carrots.
Yeah, no, now I don't... If my kids don't want to eat something, it's fine. Like, they just don't eat. And because that, I feel... I don't know if it traumatized me, but it's not a favorable memory.
Right.
So... my parenting style has changed because I don't want to keep that circle going. So, Steve, that was a shitty dad.
All right, shitty dad.
So, obviously, my parents would, like, back and forth, split me up between them maybe a week. And I would spend every day mostly at Marsha's. She's watched me all the time. And I remember it was kind of like a weird schedule. Like, I think I stayed at Mom's and, like, for, like, an extra week or something like that. That was next week. Excited to see my dad. It gets like 5:30. Like, okay, cool. It gets off around 6. 6 o'clock rolls around. 6:30 rolls around. It gets like 7:30, almost 8 o'clock. And Amarsh kind of is like, what are we doing here still? And then I had to call you. I need to be like, oh yeah, I forgot. My bad. So then you had to come pick me up after that. And
I don't think I can. I don't think you
can defend yourself in that one.
Defend myself.
You wanted a deep cut. Here's.
Yeah, I think that's.
I think every parent forgets at one point, and it's shitty. But I think where you really went wrong by just saying, "Oh yeah, I forgot."
Yeah.
Like, you should have probably lied and be like, "Oh, I had car trouble. I'm breaking down the side of the road," and like a little white lie probably would have went a long way.
Yeah.
I mean, the honesty is fine, but I think in that situation, no kid wants to have the memory of thinking that their parents forgot about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember it.
I forgot again.
Remember it.
He forgot.
He forgot again.
I'm sorry, Kate. I think I'm losing this. Like,
yeah, I think you're a shitty dad.
I think I'm a shitty dad.
Okay, so it was my...
I thought this was going to be like a cakewalk for me.
This was like Pop Steve's wedding.
Uh-huh.
You got very, very, very drunk while I was there.
And how old were you?
I mean, I was like 13.
Okay.
No.
No, Pop Steve's wedding, I was like 13, almost 14 maybe.
Okay.
But
you probably were.
It's like 2017, I think.
Well, yes, because it was a month after my wedding.
At your wedding, yeah.
And you
just gotten home. I've heard the Mykonos camel story 10,000 times at that point. And
the Mykonos camel story is that I went to, when I was in Greece, I ate camel. And it was a very good anecdote. Mm-hmm. Is that the right word?
What?
Anecdote?
Anecdote?
Am I saying it right?
I think so, but I don't know how you're using it.
But it was a story that people were like, "How's Greece?" And I would say, "Oh, it was great." And then I would go into the story about how I did a walkthrough like of Athens and things like that. And then the tour guide made us eat camel, and I didn't know it was camel.
What, they just had little toothpicks and some meat?
So basically, you go to like a
market, like a meat market?
Like a market, and they had like a charcuterie tray. and the woman was like, I'm not going to tell you what this one is. And it already messes with your mind because you're already like, I don't know what that is.
Just tell us it's chicken.
Yeah, just tell me what it is. I'll eat it anyway. And she was like, I'm not going to tell you, just eat it. And then she wanted us to be like, this is the greatest thing ever. And she's going to be like, it's camel. like.
But anyway, so I'd been going to like events with them. They've been telling this story 10,000 times, whatever. Not important. But anyway, so Popsy's wedding, you celebrate a lot. You get very, very, very drunk. I keep on asking.
And that's so unlike Steve.
Right. Really odd behavior for you. Then I'm like, hey, I want to go home because it's like nearing like 6 o'clock, whatever, 7. And I'm like starting to get tired. And then you're like, oh, I'll call it an Uber. One never rolls around. It's 9 p.m. now. And also, it was my mother's birthday. And I was supposed to go home early, leave this thing early so I could go spend it with my mother on her birthday. And you just never called it. So I had to call my mom. I don't know where you went to. I went to go say bye and you just disappeared. I didn't know where you were. I couldn't find you, and then I had to, Pop Steve had to walk me up to Mom's car with like just a tuxedo on, like a jacket on, no shirt and shorts. Out to my mom who was just sitting there like pissed off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to defend that, Steve, because
I can't really defend that one.
Like weddings, like going to a wedding, you want to get drunk, you want to let loose. But then when you bring your kid to a wedding, obviously it's not that much fun. No disrespect.
It's my dad's wedding.
Mm-hmm.
You should have got the Uber.
Mm-hmm.
You should already had that plan, or a taxi or something if you want to let loose, because I feel like at that point, like, you can let loose, but when your kid's around, like, you're just not going. You can't get wasted.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I can't really defend myself.
Yeah. You wanted a deep cut. Here we go.
All right. Well, I think we've stated that Steve was a shitty dad, but can we flip the script a little bit? What is something that you have done that maybe you don't look at so fondly?
Shitty daughter.
A shitty daughter. What are things have you done that have made you not a perfect daughter?
You could have ate crinkle carrots.
It was just the same carrot, just cut a little differently.
The same fucking
It was
carrot.
cold.
All right.
It was cold after an hour.
Is there anything that you've ever done that you haven't told your dad? Like, have you done anything at college that your dad doesn't know about?
Oh yeah.
I don't think I want to go down this road.
Oh.
I don't think I want to go down this road.
I was gonna tell you one, but you know,
All right,
okay.
no, you know what? Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, this is gonna suck.
Do you want one?
God, this is gonna suck.
Okay, I had to spend $150 on an Uber because I threw up in it after going to a club. I don't think it's that bad because I took an Uber back, but I had to pay $150.
So, is this the same Uber that you told me that your friend was throwing up in, and you smelt it, and it made you throw up?
Mm-hmm.
Was that the truth?
Was that the truth?
Yeah.
Oh, so,
I don't believe that.
So your friend threw up first?
Well, my friend was throwing up, and not to say I had some fun before we left. I wasn't feeling well. This man went on the bumpiest road in Manhattan. And yeah, I threw up in the car. I got it mostly all on myself, though. And then next day, my friend who ordered the Uber was like, hey, he charged us like $150 because of that. And then I just, I paid it because it's my fault.
Would you have thrown up if your friend didn't throw up?
Probably
Were you going home? Mm-hmm. Did they have to put you in the...
No, I got in.
Like you were like, I'm going to go home.
Like I was like, I want to go home. Like I knew what was going on and everything. But it was also like pretty late.
You were trying to beat the clock before you threw up.
Right. I was like sitting there and I was like, we were getting in. I felt fine out of there. My friend was throwing up though. And I think that's what kind of started to make me feel a little weird. But I was like, I can make it out. And then he went on like this bumpy road and I was like, nope. So I feel like that's not that bad.
That's not. I mean, when you're talking college
stories,
I mean, there may be some that you don't want to.
Right, like I paid for it with my own money. I got home safely.
Yeah, I mean, you made a mistake and you paid for it.
Exactly.
Like
I can't really like. I understand how college works.
Yeah.
So I understand like that. That doesn't.
No. I mean, if one of my kids said, I'd be happy that they got an Uber.
Yeah.
They were leaving a party together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like, okay, you had too much, but I think we've all had too much at one point. And maybe how far away from the puke to the drop off?
It was like the last 5 minutes.
So you were 5 minutes off.
Yeah.
Your target.
That 5 minutes would have saved you $150.
I know. But yeah, no, so what I think you're saying is I'm an amazing daughter.
You are an amazing daughter.
Nothing wrong my entire life.
Apparently you have a shitty dad.
Apparently.
I mean, overall, I mean, if you're talking about he took you on vacation, he saved your life.
Oh, I should have mentioned you're like yelling at me all the time in sports.
That's every parent who's ever had a kid play sports.
Every dad.
Every dad does that.
Well, don't leave out the moms.
Well, yeah, true.
I know there's one mom that probably yells a lot. Apparently, I'm a shitty dad, and that's going to wrap up this episode. So, so follow us on Inappropriate with Jim and Steve on all social media apps. I'm Steve.
I'm Jim.
I'm Caitlin.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.